Before the story starts, don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
The neighborhood was completely silent. No sound of sprinklers. No sound of washing machines. No sound of running water. Then suddenly, shouting started. People came out of their houses, confused and angry. Some were holding empty bottles. Some were on their phones, calling plumbers. Others were knocking on their neighbors' doors. There is no water. What happened? Did a pipe break? But this was not a normal problem. This time, the entire community had no water. At the center of the street, a woman stood screaming. Her face was red with anger. Her arms were moving wildly as she pointed at one house again and again. "It's him," she shouted. "He did this. He thinks he can fight the HOA." This woman was known by everyone. She was the HOA Karen. Police cars arrived slowly. Neighbors gathered closer. Everyone wanted answers. Everyone wanted water back. But the man she was pointing at did not shout. He did not panic. He stood calmly on his porch, holding a folder in his hands. Inside that folder were papers that would change everything. Because this chaos did not start today. It started weeks ago. And it started with one HOA Karen who decided she wanted him gone. The man was not famous. He was not loud. He did not cause trouble. He moved into the community 2 years ago. A quiet man. Always polite. Always followed rules. He waved at neighbors but kept to himself. At first, nobody noticed him. Except her. The HOA Karen noticed everything. She noticed his grass was half an inch taller than allowed. She noticed his trash can stayed out 1 hour too long. She noticed his car was parked a little too close to the sidewalk. At first, she sent warning letters. Very polite on the outside. Very threatening on the inside. "This is your first warning. Next time there will be a fine." The man read every letter carefully. He fixed everything. He cut the grass shorter. He moved the trash can early. He parked his car exactly where the rules said. But the letters did not stop. They increased. 1 letter every week. Then 2 letters a week. Fines started appearing. Small fines at first. Then bigger ones. The man was confused. He followed every rule. Still, Karen was not satisfied. Because it was never about the rules. It was about control. One afternoon, Karen came to his house in person. She did not knock politely. She banged on the door. When the man opened it, she smiled. But it was not a kind smile. "You know," she said, "this community has standards." He nodded calmly. "I follow the standards," he replied. Karen's smile disappeared. "Well," she said slowly, "maybe this community is not right for you." That was the first threat. A quiet one. But a dangerous one. The man understood something important that day. Karen did not want compliance. She wanted him out. From that moment, the pressure increased. Karen told neighbors that he was difficult. She told the HOA board that he was a problem. She hinted that his house lowered property value. Some neighbors started avoiding him. Others looked scared. No one wanted to fight the HOA. The HOA had power. Or so everyone believed. Then came the letter. This letter was different. It was thicker. More serious. Inside, it said he had multiple violations. It said he owed a large amount of money. It said legal action could happen. And at the bottom, one sentence stood out. If these issues are not resolved, forced removal may be considered. Forced removal. Karen was no longer hiding her goal. She wanted his house. The man did not react with anger. He did not shout. He did not argue. Instead, he sat at his table and started reading. Old documents. property records, community contracts. He read slowly, carefully. That night, while Karen slept peacefully, believing she was winning, the man discovered something strange. Something important. Something the HOA never wanted anyone to notice. But before he could act on it, Karen made her biggest mistake. She called an emergency HOA meeting. In front of everyone, she spoke loudly. "This man refuses to follow rules," she said. "He disrespects the HOA. He should not live here." The man stood up. He asked one calm question. "Can you show proof?" Karen laughed. "We don't need to explain ourselves," she replied. That sentence changed everything. Because power without proof is weakness. Days later, Karen sent workers onto his property without permission. They claimed they were checking community utilities. That was illegal. And that was the moment the man knew. Karen had crossed a line. Back to the present. The street was still dry. No water anywhere. Karen was still shouting at police. Neighbors were demanding answers. The officer walked toward the calm man on the porch. "Sir," the officer said, "do you know why the water is off?" The man opened his folder. "Yes," he said calmly. "And I can explain everything." Karen's face went pale. Because she finally realized something terrifying. She was not in control anymore. And this was only the beginning. Karen believed rules were weapons. And she knew how to use them. Every morning, she walked through the neighborhood with a clipboard in her hand. She looked at lawns. She looked at doors. She looked at driveways. She did not smile. She searched for mistakes. And every time she passed his house, she stopped. She stared at it longer than the others. Too long. The man noticed this from his window. He saw her standing there, writing something, shaking her head slowly as if she was disappointed. But he knew the truth. She was not disappointed. She was planning. At first, Karen's actions were small. Very small. She sent a letter saying his mailbox color was slightly incorrect. Then another letter saying his welcome mat was not HOA approved. The man checked the rulebook. Nothing about mailbox color. Nothing about welcome mats. Still, he changed them. Because he wanted peace. But peace was never Karen's goal. Karen began visiting his neighbors. She spoke softly. She smiled sweetly. "I'm just worried," she told them. "He doesn't seem to respect community values." Some neighbors nodded nervously. Others stayed silent. Fear spreads faster than truth. Soon, whispers followed the man when he walked outside. People stopped waving back. Children were told not to play near his yard. Karen watched all of this happen. And she smiled. One evening, the man received a fine. A big one. No clear reason. Just a number and a deadline. He went to the HOA office. Karen was waiting. She sat behind her desk like a queen on a throne. "You are late," she said. "I came as soon as I got the letter," the man replied calmly. Karen leaned back. "These fines will continue," she said. "Unless your behavior improves." "My behavior?" he asked. "What did I do wrong?" Karen's eyes narrowed. "That attitude," she said. That was the moment he understood. This was personal. Karen did not want obedience. She wanted submission. She wanted him to feel small. She wanted him to leave. The man started keeping records. Every letter. Every fine. Every visit. He took photos. He saved emails. He did not tell anyone. Because power hates silence. Silence hides preparation. Then Karen escalated. She sent a notice saying his fence was illegal. The fence was there before the HOA even existed. The man showed proof. Karen ignored it. She added another fine. Bigger this time. Neighbors started watching closely now. Something felt wrong. But no one spoke. Karen had a reputation. If she could do this to him, she could do it to anyone. Late one night, the man sat at his kitchen table. Papers were spread everywhere. Old property maps. Legal descriptions. Utility records. He was not searching for revenge. He was searching for truth. And the truth was hiding deep. The next morning, Karen showed up again. This time with 2 workers. They walked onto his property without permission. "We're inspecting community utilities," Karen said loudly. "You can't do that," the man replied calmly. Karen crossed her arms. "This land belongs to the HOA," she said confidently. The man looked at her. "No," he said. "It doesn't." Karen laughed. "You don't know what you're talking about." But something in her laugh sounded unsure. That night, the man found it. A single line in an old document. Small. Ignored. Powerful. It showed that a major water connection passed through his land. Not HOA land. His land. The HOA used it. But never owned it. Never paid for it. Never had permission. The man leaned back in his chair. He was no longer afraid. Karen, meanwhile, felt confident. She told the HOA board, "He will break soon." She told neighbors, "This will be resolved." She told herself, "I am in control." But she was wrong. Very wrong. The next letter Karen sent was her boldest yet. It demanded payment. It threatened legal action. It suggested forced removal again. Karen believed pressure would end everything. She did not realize pressure creates diamonds. The man placed the letter into his folder. He added one more document on top. The document Karen never wanted him to find. He closed the folder slowly. And for the first time, he smiled. Because Karen thought she owned the neighborhood. But soon, she would learn something painful. She only borrowed power. And borrowed power can be taken away. Karen did not attack loudly. She attacked quietly. That was her favorite way. One morning, the man opened his mailbox and felt something heavy inside. It was not one letter. It was many. 5 envelopes. All from the HOA. All signed by Karen. He stood still for a moment. He did not open them right away. He already knew. This was not about rules anymore. This was a trap. Inside the letters were charges. Violation fees. Late penalties. Special assessments. The total amount was shocking. More than he had ever paid to the HOA. The last page was the worst. If payment is not made within 30 days, further action will be taken. Further action. Karen always used soft words to hide hard threats. Karen also changed her tone. She stopped smiling. She stopped pretending. When the man called the HOA office, Karen answered. "You are making this difficult," she said. "I am following the rules," the man replied calmly. Karen paused. "No," she said coldly. "You are challenging authority." That sentence told him everything. Karen wanted a public example. She wanted to show the neighborhood what happens when someone does not bend. So she set the stage. A notice appeared on community boards. Emergency HOA meeting, mandatory attendance. Neighbors whispered. Everyone knew what this was about. Karen made sure everyone came. Fear is stronger in a crowd. The meeting room was full. Karen sat at the front. The man sat alone. Karen spoke first. She listed violations. She raised her voice. She shook papers in the air. This homeowner has repeatedly disrespected HOA standards, she said. Some people nodded. Others looked uncomfortable. Then Karen did something cruel. She showed photos of his house on a screen. Zoomed in. Twisted angles. Bad lighting. She made small things look big. "This behavior hurts property value," she said. The man stood up. He did not raise his voice. He asked one question. "May I see the rule I broke?" The room went quiet. Karen did not answer. She moved on. That was when the man realized. This meeting was not about truth. It was about humiliation. After the meeting, Karen blocked his access to HOA services. Trash pickup delayed. Maintenance requests ignored. Small punishments. Daily stress. Karen wanted him tired. Worn down. Gone. Then the letters changed again. This time, they mentioned foreclosure. Not directly, but clearly. If unresolved, legal remedies may be pursued. Karen knew those words scared people. And they worked. The man's neighbors avoided eye contact now. Some looked sorry. Some looked relieved it was not them. Karen watched all of this. She felt powerful. Late one night, the man sat alone in his house. No noise. No TV. Just papers. He spread everything out again. HOA rules. City records. Old land surveys. He was not angry. He was focused. Anger makes mistakes. Focus finds openings. He noticed something strange. The HOA rules mentioned water access many times. But ownership was unclear. The language was vague. Too vague. Vagueness hides problems. The next day, Karen came again. This time with confidence. "We are moving forward," she said. "With what?" the man asked. "Legal steps," Karen replied. "You should think about selling." Selling. That was her real goal. The man looked at her calmly. "No," he said. Karen's smile froze. That night, the man visited the city records office website. Old scans. Old maps. Old signatures. Then he saw it. A faded line. A note in small text. Water main easement, private property. His property. He leaned back slowly. Everything made sense now. Karen was strong only because no one questioned her. But power without ownership is empty. Karen, unaware, sent one final notice. It was aggressive. It gave a deadline. It assumed surrender. She believed fear would finish the job. The man placed the notice into his folder. He added the map printout. He closed the folder. He did not smile. This was not victory yet. This was preparation. Outside, Karen told the HOA board, "We will remove him soon." Inside his house, the man whispered one sentence to himself. Let her push. Because the harder she pushed, the harder she would fall. Karen believed silence meant fear. She was wrong. The man became quiet after the last notice. No emails. No calls. No complaints. Karen noticed this change. And she liked it. He's breaking, she told herself. But the truth was different. He was building something. Every morning, the man followed his normal routine. He left for work on time. He waved politely at neighbors. He kept his lawn perfect. Nothing looked suspicious. That was the plan. Because real power moves quietly. At night, his house looked dark. No lights. No visitors. But inside, the kitchen table was alive with papers. Maps. Old contracts. City records. Utility diagrams. He read them again and again. Slowly. Carefully. Because one mistake could destroy everything. The waterline map was clear now. The main water pipe that fed the entire community passed through his land. Not HOA land. Not city land. His private land. Years ago, before the HOA existed, the builder made a deal. A lazy deal. They used the land. They forgot the permission. They never updated the contract. And everyone forgot. Until now. The man did not rush. He did not celebrate. People who rush lose. Instead, he checked the law. Local law. State law. Again and again. The answer stayed the same. The HOA had no legal right to use that water line without agreement. None. Karen, meanwhile, was growing impatient. She sent another letter. More threats. More pressure. No reply. She smiled. He knows he lost, she told the HOA board. They believed her. Because Karen always sounded confident. One afternoon, Karen walked the neighborhood again. She stopped near his house. She stared. No reaction. No fear. That bothered her. Fear should show. She knocked on his door. Hard. No answer. She knocked again. Still nothing. Karen felt irritation rising. She hated being ignored. The next day, she tried a new move. She sent workers again. This time, they carried tools. They walked straight toward the side of his house. The man stepped outside calmly. You need to leave, he said. Karen crossed her arms. We are inspecting community water access, she replied loudly. This is private property, he said. Karen laughed. Prove it. Those two words were her biggest mistake. That night, the man prepared a letter. Not emotional. Not angry. Professional. Clear. He explained ownership. He explained the law. He included copies of documents. He did not threaten. He warned. Politely. He sent the letter to the HOA office. Certified mail. No escape. When Karen opened the letter, her smile faded. She read it once. Then again. Her hands tightened. This is nonsense, she said loudly. But her voice was not confident anymore. She felt something new. Uncertainty. She called the HOA lawyer. He asked for the documents. Karen sent them. Minutes passed. Then silence. Finally, the lawyer spoke. This could be a problem, he said. Karen's heart skipped. What kind of problem? She asked sharply. A serious one. Karen slammed her phone down. She refused to accept it. This man is bluffing, she said. He's trying to scare us. But deep inside, doubt was growing. Karen decided to act fast. Before anyone else asked questions. She scheduled another meeting. Emergency meeting. Again. At the meeting, Karen spoke first. She controlled the room. We are dealing with a difficult homeowner, she said. He is trying to block community access. Some neighbors looked confused. What access? Someone asked. Karen ignored the question. She moved on. But something was different this time. The man did not defend himself. He did not speak much. He listened. And listening scared Karen more than arguing. After the meeting, Karen followed him outside. This won't end well for you, she said quietly. The man looked at her. Come. It already ended, he replied. Karen froze. That night, Karen couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the letter. The documents. The lawyer's tone. She opened her laptop. She searched. And slowly, the truth appeared. The water line. The land. The missing agreement. Her confidence cracked. Meanwhile, the man made one final move. He contacted the city. Not to complain. To notify. He informed them of private utility use without agreement. He followed the process. By the book. Always by the book. The city replied. Short message. Clear words. We will investigate. Karen received the city notice the next morning. Her hands shook. This was no longer HOA business. This was bigger. She tried to call the man. No answer. She sent an email. No reply. She sent a message through the HOA system. Unread. Karen finally understood. She was no longer chasing him. He was leading her. Outside, the neighborhood looked peaceful. Sprinklers still worked. Faucets still ran. For now. Inside his house, the man placed one final paper into his folder. A city acknowledgement. He closed the folder. Slowly. Carefully. He looked out the window. The same street. The same houses. Soon, everything would change. Not with shouting. Not with threats. But with one simple action. Karen thought she controlled everything. But control without rights is an illusion. And illusions always break. The water stopped at exactly 6:17 a.m. No warning. No message. No notice on doors. Just silence. A woman in house number 12 turned on her kitchen tap. Nothing. A man in house number 8 tried to shower before work. Nothing. Sprinklers did not start. Coffee machines failed. Toilets would not flush. At first, people thought it was a normal issue. Then panic spread. Phones started ringing. Plumbers were called. The HOA emergency line crashed. Neighbors walked outside, confused and angry. Within minutes, the street was full. Everyone asked the same question. Why is there no water? Karen woke up late that morning. She turned the tap in her bathroom. Nothing. Her face changed. She tried again. Nothing. She grabbed her phone and started calling people. No one answered. Then her phone buzzed. Messages. Dozens of them. No water. Fix this now. What did the HOA do? Karen felt her chest tighten. This was bad. Very bad. She rushed outside. People were already gathering. Voices were loud. Faces were angry. Someone shouted, "This is HOA's fault." Karen raised her hands. Everyone calm down, she said loudly. We are handling this. But her voice shook. Then someone pointed. He's standing there. All eyes turned. The man stood on his porch. Calm. Quiet. Holding the same folder. Karen froze. She understood instantly. This was not a pipe failure. This was intentional. She stormed toward him. What did you do? She shouted. The man did not raise his voice. I followed the law, he said calmly. Karen laughed nervously. You can't do this, she said. This is community water. No, the man replied. It's not. Neighbors moved closer. They listened. For the first time, Karen was not in control of the story. This water line, the man continued, runs through my land. The HOA never had permission. Karen's face turned pale. That's a lie, she screamed. The man opened the folder. Inside were maps. City records. Legal documents. He showed them to anyone willing to look. Karen backed away. She grabbed her phone. Call the police, she shouted. He shut off our water. Someone already had. Police cars arrived. Sirens cut through the noise. Karen ran toward them. "This man is abusing HOA authority," she said quickly. The officer listened. Then he turned to the man. "Sir," he said, "did you shut off the water?" "Yes," the man replied calmly. Karen smiled. "There," she said. "Arrest him." The man did not move. "I shut off access to my private property," he added. The officer paused. "Do you have proof?" he asked. The man handed over the folder. The officer stepped aside. He read. Slowly. Karen watched. Sweat formed on her forehead. Neighbors waited. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the officer looked up. "This is a civil matter," he said. Karen's eyes widened. "What?" she snapped. "He is within his rights," the officer continued. "The HOA does not own this water line." The street went silent. Karen's mouth opened. No words came out. For the first time, she had nothing to say. People turned toward her. "You told us everything was legal," someone said. "You fined him for nothing," another shouted. Karen tried to speak. Her voice broke. "This is temporary," she said weakly. "We will fix this." But no one believed her anymore. The sun climbed higher. The heat grew. Still no water. And now everyone knew why. The man closed his folder. He looked around. "I did not want this," he said calmly. "I warned the HOA." Karen stared at him. Pure hatred. Pure fear. That morning changed everything. The HOA lost control. Karen lost authority. The neighborhood woke up. But this was not the end. Because Karen was not done fighting. And the HOA was about to make one last, desperate mistake. Karen did not sleep that night. Her house was dark, but her mind was loud. No water. Angry neighbors. Police siding against her. For the first time in years, Karen felt powerless. And she hated it. Early next morning, she made a decision. If she could not control the truth, she would change the story. Karen sent an email to the entire community. Subject line was bold. Urgent, false information being spread. In the email, she wrote, "The man was selfish. He was hurting families. He was abusing legal loopholes. HOA was the victim." She ended with one line. "We will take strong action." Some neighbors believed her. Fear still worked on a few people. Others were tired. No water does that to people. Karen then made her biggest mistake. She tried to force entry. That afternoon, Karen arrived at the man's house with 3 people. 1 HOA board member. 2 workers. She did not knock. She ordered. "Turn the water back on," she demanded. The man stepped outside. Calm. Focused. "You are trespassing," he said. Karen pointed at him. "You are harming children," she shouted. "You will regret this." The man said nothing. He simply took out his phone and pressed record. Karen did not notice. She kept shouting. She threatened lawsuits. She threatened police. She threatened to ruin him. Everything was recorded. One neighbor came closer. Then another. Phones came out. People started filming. Karen noticed too late. "Stop recording," she screamed. The man spoke calmly. "This is my property," he said. "And this conversation is being documented." Karen's face twisted. She lost control. She grabbed the folder from his hands. Papers flew. Maps hit the ground. And in front of everyone, she said it. "I don't care about the law." Silence. Complete silence. That sentence changed everything. The HOA board member with her stepped back. "That's not what we agreed to," he said quietly. Karen turned on him. "Are you against me now?" He said nothing. Because the truth was standing between them. Someone called the police again. This time, Karen did not smile. When officers arrived, the scene was different. Videos. Witnesses. Documents on the ground. Karen tried to speak first. But no one listened. The officer watched the recording. He listened carefully. Then he looked at Karen. "Ma'am," he said, "you are trespassing and harassing a homeowner." Karen laughed nervously. "This is HOA business." The officer shook his head. "No. This is personal abuse." Karen's voice broke. "This is my job," she said. The officer replied calmly. "Then you should have followed the law." The HOA board member stepped forward. "We need to talk," he said to the officer. They moved aside. They talked quietly. For a long time. Neighbors waited. The man stood still. He said nothing. He didn't need to. Finally, the officer returned. He addressed everyone. "The HOA does not have legal control over the waterline," he said. "This homeowner acted within his rights." Then he looked at Karen. "You need to leave this property immediately." Karen froze. "What?" she whispered. "Now," the officer repeated. Karen's world collapsed in that moment. She turned. She walked away. No shouting. No power. No followers. Just silence. That evening, the HOA board called an emergency meeting. Without Karen. For the first time ever. Inside the meeting room, tension filled the air. Angry voices. Confused questions. How did this happen? Why didn't we know? Why did Karen hide this? The board reviewed everything. Emails. Fines. Videos. A pattern appeared. Karen had abused power. Again and again. The decision was quick. Unanimous. Karen received the email at night. Short. Cold. Effective immediately, you are suspended from HOA authority pending investigation. Her hands shook. She read it again. And again. Outside, the neighborhood changed. People talked openly now. They apologized to the man. They thanked him. Some brought bottled water. Some brought food. Not because he demanded it, but because he stood up. The man accepted quietly. He did not celebrate. This was not revenge. This was balance. Late that night, Karen sat alone. No emails. No calls. Just her reflection. She whispered to herself. This isn't over. But deep down, she knew. It was. Because tomorrow would bring the final decision. And Karen's HOA reign was about to end forever. The emergency meeting started without Karen. That alone felt unreal. For years, she sat at the center of every table. She spoke first. She decided everything. But now, her chair was empty. And everyone noticed. The HOA board looked nervous. Papers were stacked high. Phones were silent. No one smiled. They reviewed everything from the beginning. The fines. The letters. The threats. The videos. Each document told the same story. This was not about rules. This was about control. One board member spoke quietly. We trusted her. Another replied. She used that trust. No one argued. The truth was clear now. A vote was called. No shouting. No drama. Just raised hands. Every hand went up. The decision was final. Karen was removed from the HOA. Effective immediately. No appeal. No second chance. The next morning, Karen arrived at the HOA office. She tried to enter. The door was locked. A printed notice was taped to the glass. Access revoked. Her name was not mentioned. It didn't need to be. Karen stood there for a long time. Then she turned and walked away. No clipboard. No power. No audience. Meanwhile, the man received an email. This one was different. It was respectful. The HOA apologized. They admitted fault. They asked for a legal agreement to restore water. On fair terms. Proper payment. Clear rules. The man read the email slowly. He did not rush. Power that rushes creates new Karens. He replied with one condition. Everything must be legal. Everything must be written. Everything must be fair. The HOA agreed. Immediately. Within 2 days, a new water agreement was signed. The city approved it. Lawyers reviewed it. The man reopened the water access. Slowly. Legally. At exactly 6:42 p.m., the water returned. Sprinklers clicked on. Faucets ran. Showers steamed. The neighborhood cheered. Not for water, but for justice. People came to the man's house. They thanked him. They apologized. Some felt ashamed for staying silent. He listened. He did not blame. Silence survives fear. Courage breaks it. Life returned to normal. But the feeling was different. Healthier. Safer. Months later, the HOA changed rules. More transparency. More limits on power. More voices. No single person could control everything again. As for Karen, she moved. No goodbye. No message. Her name slowly disappeared from conversations. Which was her real punishment. One evening, the man sat on his porch. Water flowed softly from his garden hose. The same hose that once fed the whole community. He looked around. Same houses. Same street. But not the same power. He did not win by shouting. He did not win by threatening. He won by understanding the system better than the bully. The lesson was simple. HOA power is not absolute. Rules must work both ways. And when someone pushes too far, karma pushes back harder. Karen tried to force him out. Instead, she exposed herself. And the community learned who really owned the power.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed it.